All right, let's dive into a topic that is absolutely explosive in Indian politics right now. The 30th Constitutional Amendment Bill. Now, this bill, at its very core, could completely change the game for how long prime ministers and chief ministers can hold on to their jobs if they're facing serious criminal charges.
So, what's all the fuss about? Well, believe me, this is way more than just some dry legal debate. The 130th Amendment has kicked off a massive political firestorm. It's really a clash between two huge ideas, what the law says on paper and this bigger idea of political morality.
And it all really boils down to this one pretty shocking question. Can an elected leader, we're talking a chief minister, maybe even a prime minister, actually run the government from inside a prison cell? I mean, that's the wild dilemma at the heart of this entire thing. So how does this proposed law even begin to answer a question like that? Well, it introduces a really simple, almost automatic trigger. People are already calling it the 30-day rule. Let's break down exactly how it's supposed to work.
Okay, the proposal itself is pretty straightforward. If a top leader is held in custody for 30 days straight on a serious criminal charge, they're automatically out of a job. Now, there are two words here that are absolutely crucial. First is custody. This means they don't even have to be convicted of anything yet. And the second is automatically, which means the removal is instant, no debate.
Yeah, think of it like a three-step trigger. First, an official gets arrested for a serious crime, something punishable by 5 years or more. Second, they have to be held in custody for 30 consecutive days. If those two things happen, step 3 is a sure thing. On day 31, poof, they're no longer in office. It's really that simple and that fast. Now, you can probably guess a rule this powerful was always going to set off a huge controversy. So why is it tearing people apart? To get that, we really need to look at the arguments coming from the opposition. At the absolute heart of the opposition's case is this fundamental principle of law, one that's recognized all over the world. You are innocent until proven guilty. Their argument is that this bill just takes that principle and flips it completely on its head. It imposes the ultimate political punishment, getting kicked out of office, way before a court has even had a chance to say whether you're guilty or not. Their fears really come down to one thing, the risk of political misuse. They're asking, hey, could a ruling party use this to just knock out their rivals? Could government agencies like the ED or the CBI be used to arrest an opposition leader, hold them for 30 days, and boom, legally remove them from power without ever needing a trial? For the critics, this isn't just a legal problem. They see it as a direct threat to the very foundations of democracy. But of course, that's only one side of the coin. The government has its own powerful counter-argument. They're framing this bill not as some kind of political weapon, but as a much-needed reform to keep democracy healthy. See, the government looks at this debate in a totally different way. For them, it's not about the nitty-gritty legal details. It's about a higher principle, political morality. Their entire argument is that you just can't have good governance without it, and this bill is designed to protect exactly that. And their whole justification is built on that idea. They argue that any leader facing these kinds of serious charges automatically loses the moral authority to govern, and that it damages public trust. They also make a pretty interesting point, that the original framers of the Constitution probably never in their wildest dreams imagined a scenario where a top leader would try to run a country from a jail cell.
So here we are, left with two clashing views. One side is warning about a grave threat to democratic rights, while the other is talking about upholding democratic integrity. And that brings us to where the bill is now, and really, the bigger question of what all this means for the future. So as of right now, this bill is not the law of the land. It's been sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. What that means is the intense debate is going to continue. Experts, lawmakers, they're all going to be picking apart every single clause. Its fate is very much still up in the air.
Which leaves all of us with this final, crucial question. Is this bill a necessary tool to enforce accountability and make sure we have good governance, preventing leaders from just clinging to power under a dark cloud of suspicion? Or is it a dangerous loophole, one that could be used to systematically dismantle political opposition and weaken the very fabric of democracy? It's a huge question, and honestly, the answer is going to shape Indian politics for years to come.